Chanel. Before there was Chanel for Life, there was me, myself, and I was out here doing content creation for brands, creating ads for brands, filming this user-generated content as it's known. But also, if you've been following my journey, you know that I have multiple sclerosis. I was diagnosed in 2019. That really shifted my life. However, there was so much growth that has come in my life since that diagnosis. I had to adjust to a new normal, get back to myself. And in doing all that, the More Than a Mother brand was built. And I started a podcast, connected with lots of women and mothers, and rocked out. And from there, I started diving into content creation, being the mom content creator, as I called myself, creating content for these brands, creating content online, growing my own personal social media profiles, doing this user generated content. And I loved it. But the thing is, if you remember back at that time, we were in a pandemic. So things were shut down. So in that 2020 to 2020, late 2021, 2022 time, things were kind of slow. But then as life kind of ramped back up, things opened back up, I had to stop. And when I had to stop doing the podcast, stop doing the user generated content, stop creating this content for brands, I didn't realize how much of an impact it had on me until I started to reflect on it this past year. Again, that was something else I had to grieve. I had to grieve the loss of my life that I thought I would have before I was diagnosed with this illness. But then I had to turn around and grieve the life that I was building, something that I love to do. I love to create content. I love to make the videos. I was good at it. I was teaching people how to become content creators. I was doing my podcasts, but it became too much. I had to stop. And it was at that time when I had to stop that I started turning to online and passing the time. And as I'm scrolling, it was around the time we had the 2021, there was the verses and following the journey of Nelly and Ashanti through the end of 2021 to 2022, watching everything that is happening throughout that year, stumbling across Famo's page where she's posting the clues and all that we all can look for, and she was piecing this puzzle together for us. And that is what began to give me joy. And then one day in 2023, kind of battling with the idea of I want to get back into content creation, but how can I do it? And one day it popped in my mind, and it was like, you know what you want. You know what you want to see. You know how to create content. You know what you want it to look like. It doesn't exist, so create it. After some back and forth, I got over on TikTok, came up with a name, put together Ashanti, Nelly, Chanel. That's how I came up with Chanel. Made it for life. Started this page on TikTok, and it took off and exploded more than I imagined. That was me starting over. And as we're seeing a living example right in front of you right now, the power in that starting over.